This was taken maybe about 4 months before she passed. Serena was 28 when she passed away. And Serena was a young mom. My name is Betty R. Clark. I am 7 from 14. Number 7 from 14. I had 8 brothers, 5 sisters. I was never a stay-at-home mom. I was always working. I've done everything, payroll, accounts payable, accounts receivable. Now I'm doing caregiving. Then I got married and I had 2 girls. I had Serena and Bobby, and they're 3 years apart. Serena was really, really smart. She could cook like her mom. She had 3 boys, James, Joseph, and Jacob. They were 6, 10, and 11 when she passed away. They're 20, 25, and 26 now. I did a good job. They've all graduated, and I'm still raising them. They're still here. James was diagnosed with Asperger's, and he's functioned really good, but it impacted my boys. It traumatized the 3 of them. August the 27th of 2010, Serena died of a drug overdose, and I didn't find her. James and Bobby did. Bobby's my daughter, my second daughter. And it was too late already, I had been calling her. I placed 53 calls to her, and there was no answer. She was staying with her dad. I had the boys because it was during the school year, and school was barely gonna start, so yeah. On a Friday, we went over there, and when we got there, my ex came to the door and he told James, go and call Bobby. He goes, tell her to come inside. But we didn't know why. So it was her, and then James, and then Joseph, and then Jacob was the last one. And they were all going to her bedroom. And Bobby saw what happened because she was blue around the mouth. And so then she turned around and she told Joseph, go get Nana. And she goes, take Jacob with you. So Joseph already knew, he did. Because he came out and he said, Nana, Bobby wants you. And I said, what happened? He goes, it's Mama. So I just went in there, and he stayed behind. He didn't want to see. So it was me and James and Bobby, and James just stood there. So I think that traumatized James more. And so I laid down with her and I just hugged her. And then my ex-husband came in and I said, kneel down and pray with me, And he kneeled down with me, and I grabbed his hand and I started praying, And then my second husband came, and I told him to take the boys home. But before he took them home, the boys all hugged me, and I said, I'll be home in a little while, And then Jacob wasn't crying, and then he looked at me, he goes, Nana, he goes, is the ambulance gonna take her? And I said, yeah. And he goes, she'll be fine, she'll be fine. And I said, thank you, baby, So that's what happened. She would say that her arm fell asleep, but it was carpal tunnel also. So she went to see Dr. Pawan Kumar Jain. He prescribed oxycodone or Oxycontin. I told Serena, why is he giving you all these prescriptions? She would go to the pharmacy. I think she had like 3 pharmacies going, and she would get this, and this, and can you take me over here? Why are you taking all those pills? And well, he told me so. So he prescribed all those medications, and that's how I lost her, And Dr. Jain states that he took x-rays and all that, but I would sit there in the waiting room. It wasn't that long. I don't think he ever took the time to look at her completely, and give her a physical or whatever. I don't think so, because she would be out in like 20 minutes. She was in and out. So to me, he never took the time to see her. I started everything. I called the medical board. I filled out a paper, and they were going to investigate him, and they did. And they revoked his license, and then they went to his office, and they, closed it down. And then I found Molly, and I went to the right one when I went to Molly.
In 2012, the New Mexico Medical Board issued a notice suspending Dr. Jain's license for, they believed, causing the death of 17 patients through injudicious prescribing of narcotics, specifically opiates. During the lifespan of that investigation, which was also picked up by different federal government entities, including the FBI and the DEA, they believe the death count from Dr. Jain's opioid prescribing is as high as 60 to 112 people. What he was doing was he was just scripting out hundreds of scripts, and you would walk in, and his receptionist or office people would just hand out scripts to the patients. He was like a legalized drug dealer. And you can get addicted to opiates like that. My approach is leave no stone unturned. And so I referred Miss Clark out to my colleague, my law school classmate, Ben Davis, because I knew he would do the job that needed to be done at the level that I would do it. And he did. We filed suit one after the other in August of 2013. In January of 2023, we, working together on behalf of the 2 wrongful death estates, received a $52.8 million verdict from that Albuquerque jury.
It may not bring my daughter back, but I brought justice, to me. I feel that Ben and Zach and Molly, all 3 of them are really, really good. All his crew, they made him pay for it, The boys were young, and it's not gonna bring her back. But you know what? They'll have something to fall back on if they were to gain money, It's not gonna happen again, not to anybody. If I can help it, I'll tell them, you go and get Ben to represent you, get Zach to represent you, and whoever else works with Ben and Zach. And that's how I feel.